the soft strains of Mr. Nat King Cole with Unforgettable, which would remind you, Mr. Irwin, of my co-host, of course. Good morning.
Good morning.
Program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. And boy, we just have a personality today and some perspectives. Happily, we can leave off the politicians for a while. By the way, I found some great quotes. I was looking around trying to come up with some quotes here, and I found some great political quotes, which we will just leave in abeyance for now, but boy, did they zing in right on top. Kudos. Dave will remember we usually try to start Viewpoint with a kudo, and I can't think of a better place to start with kudos this morning, Judith K., than all of the folks who chip in their time and their talents, the volunteers who help out, help put on the Logan County Fair. Without all of those folks out there laboring away, and some very hard, putting in lots of hours in all capacities, without the volunteers, we wouldn't have it.
That's exactly right.
So let's kudo to the all the folks who step to the plate and swing a strong bat for the Logan County Fair. Now, having said that, I suppose it would be appropriate, Mrs. Busby, to introduce our guest officially.
I think that might be nice.
Most officially, that would be.
Dave Irwin, thank you so much for being with us today. Since Bill brought up the business of volunteers, I say thank you, God, for them, because now your money situation is has been just kind of chipped away at, just like you were a stonemason or something.
It sure has.
And a big chip this last crack.
That's right. It's not getting any easier, and you know, we had a pretty tough fair board meeting last Thursday at noon. We all gathered when we've got some news from the state of Illinois about them cutting their dollars back to us that are used to pay the exhibitors, and so it wasn't a short meeting. It was a tough meeting. It was a lot of good discussion, and but we felt like we had to do it. It really came down to a question of, you know, do we want to have a fair in future years or don't we? And you know, it's just kind of as simple as that. But the positive thing for me is, in doing some research at some other local county fairs around the area, the cuts that we did make, we felt like we had to make, but the cuts that we did make are going to lead to premiums that are just about equal or very competitive with the other county fairs around.
Oh, really?
So even after our cuts, we are going to be very competitive with the premiums that we will be offering in comparison to the other county fairs around. So,
well, they didn't just single out Logan County for the cuts. I'm sure.
No,
and
you know, that's one of the things. You know, I liken it to somebody gonna double up their fist and hit you in the face. if you had a warning about it, well, you would duck, and we ducked, but I feel bad for those county fairs that have already happened. That notice to us didn't come out until the first or second week of July that they were going to do this, and a lot of those county fairs had already taken place at that time. And so it's very unfortunate that those county fairs offered those premiums and paid those premiums fully expecting to get similar, equal to or similar refund dollars back from the state of Illinois for the premiums that they paid, and those fairs aren't going to get those dollars, so it's going to be very tough on some of them.
No, but don't you suppose that somewhere in the back of their mind they might have kind of been suspicious about funding?
Sure.
Because Governor Rauner promised that if elected, he was cutting across the board. I don't know what to tell you. I feel sorry for anybody who gets cut, because many of these cuts are done to programs that are excellent. But you can't live the way we have for all these years. If it were your home, they'd probably put you in debtor's prison. You're a banker, you know that.
Exactly.
Yes, that man comes to the state bank and he puts you in there in a heartbeat.
That's right. That's right.
Hard-hearted Hannah over there.
Yeah, and nobody likes to be in those meetings. Nobody likes those decisions because it affects a lot of people. But I think we're still going to put on a fair. What I want everybody to know is the fair is we're still putting in our share. We're putting in the same amount of money that we've always paid out. It's just the state is not.
And they have to do that. There's no question.
It'll be a good fair. We've got lots of good volunteers, as you led off the show with, and I'd like for those people to follow around in Mike Moskey's shoes in July and August, because you'd be dragging.
Yeah. Oh, gosh,
you'd be dragging the floor when you got done with those two.
648-5510. Somebody might have a question or comments with Dave Irwin, representing the State Bank of Lincoln and the County Fair Board, more particularly here this morning. Dave, it may be that I'm a hometown boy, but I think, and I could be an error on this, but I think it may be his hometown pride, that the Logan County Fair, insofar as county fairs are concerned, K Road or Rockford, probably is one of the better county fairs. We may be one of the longest running insofar as longevity is concerned. I think it was 36, 37.
Yep.
And down through the years.
Heck, that's older than me.
Well, who isn't?
Yeah, I mean, we pride ourselves as being Illinois' cleanest and best county fair, and that's kind of our slogan that we've lived by. We've got a good fair board that works very hard at keeping those things alive, but more than that, it goes right back again to what you led the show off with. There's just lots of volunteers. You have no idea how many volunteers for every department and everything in that fair book. If you look up and down all the premiums offered and all the departments there are 4, 5, 6, 10 people behind each one of those departments volunteering their time and talents to
and some for
make that
many years.
Many years, yeah.
Well, who wants to judge chickens?
There's some of them out there. And,
well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Some of them don't know above Orpington to Plymouth Rock.
There's a lot of people with a lot of talents, and we're so thankful to have them all, because without them, you just couldn't make it happen.
Well,
one time when I worked out there, this man came in to register his cattle. And I had to ask him what breed they were, and he said Simmental, and I said, yes, I'm sure, and Simmen short.
Yeah.
They vary.
Yeah. I understand
That's my neighbor.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, on Victory Memorial Drive, where I grew up, we didn't have many cows, Simmental or short.
That's right.
That's right. What annual fair is this?
Whoa, boy.
The which?
79th. 79.
Yeah, think of that.
That's a miracle.
79th annual.
There are lots of folks out there today who have no cognizance of all of how important that fair was in those early days.
Oh, it was a gathering place. It was a social mecca back then.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it was, truly.
Oh, yes.
And the Horse Society horse shows and all the old-time, things that went on at the fair.
You wouldn't go to this horse show of evening without a jacket and tie.
Oh, it's very interesting to see some of the old pictures. Everybody had a coat and tie on.
Got people going into church with shorts on now.
The ladies had dresses on.
Oh, yes, and hats.
Yeah, dressed to the nines.
The infield, so to speak, at the horse show was always nicely decorated. And the Legion band played it.
Yeah.
It was really, truly a big event.
A lot of good stuff, and still is today. I mean, there's a lot of neat events all week long for those in attendance. We're going to start on Sunday. We're just a few days away now from the Downstate Classic horse races. Will be on Sunday, so those are some of the best horses around. Jim Austin. I happened to stop and say hi to Jim this morning. I didn't get an update, but he had told me a week or so ago that he thought there would be 2 horses here that would be undefeated when Sunday came around, which they're getting ready for the state fair. This might be their last big start before the state fair. $50,000 races at the state fair, so there'll be over $50,000 in premiums offered for the horse races on Sunday, I believe. So real excited about that. And then we'll have horse races on Monday and Tuesday as well. And then things really get kicked off on Tuesday. We'll have the ribbon cut at 9 o'clock at the main gate, and it'll get going from there.
You know, it says that there's free grandstand, gate, and parking on Sunday.
Yes. Yeah. So we encourage everybody to come out, watch the horse races. The grandstand's covered, of course, and I think there's cooler weather coming in tomorrow. So
thank you for that, please.
That would help.
You bet. That helps a lot.
You know, I understood at one point that in order to race, for these horses to race at the state fair, they had to have appeared in whatever the number was of races locally before signing up to go there. So sometimes when these people get to doing their 2s and 3s and find that, whoops, I'm short one, then they want to come here because we're getting toward the end.
Well, we've got a very good track too.
Yes.
Jim Austin works
through the year.
Jim works very hard all year long. Of course, he trains his horses there at the fairgrounds, and there'll be some local flavor there because Jim's got 2 or 3 or 4 maybe that'll race here on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So it's kind of neat when you know the people or know they're local to come out and watch their horses race that train here every day. So, you know, coupled with being a very good track and the time of year it is, then hopefully we attract a lot of horses. That's part of the reason that we extended the fair dates by 2 days. That started in 2014. Our fair dates now start, it's a week long, and they start on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday, and we're having the horse races back to back to back on those days because prior to 2014 there were about 4 or 5 different county fairs going on later on in the week when our horse races were going on. So by moving it up earlier in the week, we were trying to avoid some of those other fairs and possibly have more horses come and race here. So
I imagine that's a perpetual thing for you.
It is.
You know, gerrymandering your whole schedule so that
the fair's the fair's kind of late this year, and when looking at the fair dates, we have always kept our fair dates consistent with what the state fair has done. So we always our fair's going to end every year on the Sunday before the Thursday that the state fair starts. So,
and isn't that one of the reasons, David, that down through the years we've just been just ahead of the state fair, and that proximity to the big show down there in Springfield got us a lot of show horses in the days of the big horse shows, and also we got a lot of standardbreds on the track.
Exactly, and you know, it's typical for the, I'll say, the better race horses that race for the big money. It's typical for them to run every 7 to 10 days. You'll notice in the program, if you come out and watch the races on Sunday, that it's possible that there will be some of those horses that have raced every 2 to 3 days. Those guys a lot of them come up from Mississippi and that sort of thing, and they race, they go from fair to fair, and they enter those horses you know,
right after,
not back to back, but you know, on 2 or 3 days.
They don't waste a lot of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, Judith, there's a lot of listeners that there are a lot of listeners. Watch your grammar, Bill.
Please.
That don't know that we had a local man who was very big in harness racing, Edgar Leonard and his family, big time names in the standard industry. You like that, choke you on?
I feel like typhoid.
It's my presence, Dave. She gets next to me and she just get all choked.
I understand.
I get so excited.
But seriously, Edgar had a very prominent career down through the years.
Yeah, and he even had, even when I was younger, I remember the Leonard name as coming to the fair, and I believe they had the orange colors that they wore, and when they were in the race bike. and so I think there's still some family around, possibly. So.
You know, if the listeners haven't ever taken advantage of going to a horse race, it's really a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I've always been very interested in it since I was little and coming to the county fair. I've gotten to know a lot of people in the industry, and you want to talk about people that work hard. Boy, it's fun to watch those horses go around the track, but all the training that it takes and all the time and the grooms and the equipment and the trailers and the trucks and
Yeah, they don't just hitch them up and turn them loose.
No. And let me tell you, those racehorses are well cared for. Don't you ever feel sorry for a racehorse, because they get their legs rubbed, they get baths 2 or 3 times a day, their stalls cleaned twice a day, and those are the grooms. That's the term that's used for the ladies or gentlemen that are taking care of those horses and feeding those horses. And typically around the big stables that I've seen, you'll have one groom for every 4 to 6 horses. So when you've got one person dedicating the better part of 6 or 8 hours a day to just 4 animals, and I shouldn't say just 4 animals, it's a lot of work. But
Dave, I'm the only one left in captivity, I think, that remembers when a horse dropped dead on the north turn.
Oh, is that right?
And I can tell you the name of that horse, and I can't remember well, never mind that, but anyway.
Yeah.
That horse's name was Gentry Potemkin. Now, why in the world would I remember that?
Yeah.
It would be about 1938, I think, when that horse dropped dead.
That's slightly before my time.
Yes, slightly.
I didn't see that.
Listen, you're talking about programs. That's when I made some of my first money, Judith Kay, selling programs for Wilbur Layman.
Yes. Yeah.
Out there. I think with 10 cents a program, and I think we got a penny. And we augmented our income by going to the Kresge's and buying pencils for nothing and then selling them for a nickel a piece.
Yeah, that's entrepreneurial.
That's right. That
was my first entrepreneurial attempt.
That's another case of people volunteering at the fair. Dale and Mary White, do that for us almost every year. You're going to see those people out there, and that's, those are just another case of the volunteers, the people that you don't think about that are making that fair work. So
you moved the ticket booth.
The ticket booth has been moved.
And the temple curtain didn't rent.
Yeah, that's right.
Surprisingly.
That's right. Yeah. For those that don't know, the old log cabin looking structure that was our ticket booth, which was directly across the main entrance to the grandstand, has been moved to make room for more concessionaires there, and we modified the north part of our fair office, which is the block building. There's 2 block buildings there. The block building just to the north of the main fair office now will be the ticket booth area, and I'm sure the volunteers, once again, that are helping in the ticket booth will be very happy about that, because there's air conditioning in there now it'll be a lot more comfortable and a lot safer for them, and so we're tickled to death to have that. There's a brand new big lighted sign right above that area, so you won't miss it.
You won't get lost.
One of the features of Logan County Fair down through the years had been the quality of the midway.
Yes.
The rides and the carnies and so forth.
Sure.
Down through the years, the Logan County Fair Association prided itself on getting top drawer folks in there. We all have a little idea about the carnies and all that. But we've had good experience there.
Tenley Amusements came on board 2 or 3 years ago. I'm losing track of time now. And before that, Lure's Ideal Rides were always a staple of the fair for many, many years. And we very much appreciated having them around. And Tenley Amusements has carried on with a fine quality midway as well. A lot of people don't know the reason that the Lure's Ideal Rides I hate to use the word went away, but the reason that Tinley came on board is Lures has a festival in their hometown that moved the dates that coincided with ours. And of course, being in a hometown, as you would, you want to be involved in your hometown festival. And so that was the sole reason why Lures is no longer here and Tinley is here. But we're very tickled with how Tinley has handled everything, and we believe they bring a good, clean. Yeah,
they keep them clean, and the personnel, the attendants, and so forth. We have we're talking. This is our guest this morning is Dave Irwin. Subject, of course, is the Logan County Fair, which morphs me into some blue ribbon sponsors that we have. And so, if we'll take a minute now and award these blue ribbons to our sponsors.
A handicap there.
Always remind me. Ready? Oh, we're on. Right back in the air. Live in the air. Our guest this morning is the pride and passion of Prairies of Beeson, Mr. Dave Irwin. Dave representing not only the state bank, but Logan County Fair. And Dave's always been very gracious with Judy and I to come up here and talk about the fair. It's a big thing for Logan County. Economically, it brings no small amount of change into our county, Dave.
Exactly.
And there are just a lot of people, as we alluded to earlier this morning, a lot of people pitching in, helping out on that. One of the things I'd like to mention, the quality of the vendors. Just like I mentioned the Midway, it seems to me that down through the years, we've had a high standard as far as our vendors are concerned.
Oh, we've got a lot of good food vendors. Of course, when you think of the county fair, you think of corn dogs and elephant ears and all that good stuff, lemonade shake-ups and Colors French fries. And so they'll be there this year along with all the others. And along with the food vendors, we're very fortunate to have a lot of local businesses. Kevin Richart with his petting zoo, and Central Illinois Ag, and Rolf's Implement, and Cross Brothers with their farm equipment, and Rollins Trailer Sales. Those are all local businesses that are vendors that come and set up, and in addition to the normal food vendors that we think of when we go to the fair, those local businesses all have something to show. And in the exhibition buildings down there, you can buy anything from pencils to air conditioners to TVs to whatever. P&M Communications is down there, so there's a lot of local businesses and vendors that come show their wares, and we're very appreciative of them all being there and making the fair what it is.
Let's talk a little bit about the North End.
The North End.
Sometimes people kind of overlook that.
Well, I have a passion for the North End.
I bet you do.
I have a passion for the North End because I grew up down there.
Sure.
I'm on the fair board now because, probably because of all the good memories I have from being down there on the North End. I learned how to play euchre on the North End, so sitting around the barns with the other exhibitors. I mean, there's a lot of friends that I have today, business acquaintances, and people I do business with now in my real job that are people that I met through exhibiting cattle down at the North End. So,
little did you ever dream when you were a kid as an exhibitor off the farmland in Beeson that you'd be sitting across the desk dealing with some of those folks in a professional way.
Exactly, and it's very rewarding because those are friends and family, and now you get to help them out with their operations and hope to see them through to a prosperous life as they go forward. So one thing I would like to mention, since Judy brought up the North End, we have a project going on now that we're raising funds for to try to better the north end, and that is the bathrooms. You know, the bathrooms have been something that people, the exhibitors and fairgoers have brought up in the past, and as a fair board we want people to know that we are listening to them. Sometimes dollars get in the way of things, and so we are
just like at home.
Just like at home, and we are in the middle of a fundraising effort now. We're about halfway to our goal. We're in the middle of a fundraising effort to construct and build a new bathroom / storm shelter. So after what happened at the Indiana State Fair 2 years ago when the storm rolled through, and really that was more of a stage thing that they had a problem with over there. You know, you think about a storm, if it rolls through, we've got a bunch of people out there in trailers, camper trailers, a bunch of people in open-sided barns down there, maybe with no place to go. And so this bathroom that we're wanting to construct is also going to double as a storm shelter, a place for people to go in the event of an emergency. And so at the fair office and us fair board members, if anyone would like, we're accepting donations. We have a raffle going on right now. We're selling tickets for $50 a piece for a chance to win $1,000. And then there'll be several other $100 prizes. So that'll be ongoing, and the winner of that will be drawn on Sunday night of the fair, I believe. So contact the fair board member if you're interested in helping us, or we will always gladly accept donations to the Logan County Fair Foundation.
Well, that's a big thing for the exhibitors. There's a lot of young men and young ladies from the immediate area around here that exhibit their cattle, their livestock, and they stay all night. And the facilities.
I did it when I was younger, and it was always nice. I can rattle off the places that had the nice bathrooms to go take a shower. when you're away, we had a camper that
sure, you traveled the circuit, so to speak.
Right, we had a camper that Dad drug around for us, but we didn't take showers in it, and so it was always nice when there were, you know, decent bathrooms to go take a shower in. So.
I'd like to mention the entertainment that you provide in front of the grandstand. Down through the years, you've had some unusual acts, and life changes, situation changes, and the old order changeth and giveth way to the new. So getting, quote, top-line entertainers is probably a lot more difficult today. Would you like to address that, Dave?
Well, it's I guess I'll say it tongue-in-cheek, it's not that difficult if you got a lot of money in your pocket.
Well,
And we don't have a lot of money in our pockets, and thank goodness for our sponsors that helped me out with that Saturday night show. It's a ton of work, you know, when you're selling tickets for $25 is a lot of money. Sounds like a lot of money, and I realize it is a lot of money. But I'll have I'm going to have over $80,000 in that show on Saturday night before it's all over with. By the time you pay the stage, light, and sound, and insurance, and the entertainer, and the opening act, and there's a lot of things that go into it, a lot of things to line up, and without our sponsors that we have for that show, there's no way that you could even... You can't sell enough tickets to make that work. And so we're very appreciative of all those sponsors, and I'd encourage everybody to open up a fair book, go to our website, take a look at the posters that are around town that are advertising that, and pay attention to who those sponsors are. Patronize those sponsors, go up and thank them, because
which is important.
It's very important. I want those sponsors to know that it's very much appreciated. And a couple things that are going to be new for the concert this year. There's going to be a video screen that I haven't had in the past. So you see at the big time concerts, there's a video screen maybe on either side. We're going to have one this year, probably be on the right side of the stage, but it'll allow the people in the in the grandstands, maybe to get a little better view of what's going on up at the stage. Now, granted, there isn't a bad seat in that place. You're not so far away at our county fair that you can't see what's going on, but I wanted to provide hopefully a better experience for the concert goers, and people are going to think that I did that so people can see better, and if they want to think that, that's fine. I want them to think that. But my real reason, for doing that is to hopefully I'm going to have the sponsor names scrolling up on that video screen before and between the acts, so the sponsors get a little more recognition, and the recognition that they deserve for helping put this thing on, because there are a lot of people, a lot of people in Logan County enjoy that concert, and we've had several good ones in a row now, and this one should be no different. Dustin Lynch is very hot, and as Jim Ash mentioned earlier today, he's got his latest song is right up there on the charts right now, so we're very excited about having him, and then local favorite Brushville this will be their third time opening for us at the fair, and that has a local flavor as well. Kirk Ellis, their guitar player, was a fellow graduate of Lincoln High School with me, so I just spoke with him yesterday, and he's very excited. It's one of the shows that he really looks forward to every year because he's coming home and his mom comes to the concert, and so very excited about having them back too.
That's a great opportunity. You know, Judith and Dave and Jim, nothing's more boring than hearing an old geezer rattle about the old times. But one thing I remember about one big thing we had in entertainment was we had a guy by the name of Dave Merrifield, and he did a trapeze act beneath a helicopter. And I remember that very vividly because I got to know Dave and his pilot very well through Jack Bushel, who booked the acts in those days.
Sure.
And I always thought that was a very unusual bit of entertainment, having a guy with no net do a trapeze act underneath a helicopter.
Yeah.
And that was a big draw there, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I would say so. There's a lot of people that would go see that even today.
Oh, sure, sure. Well, you know, that Saturday night show has always been pretty much a sellout. The people really appreciate the entertainment that you bring to Lincoln.
Well, we're happy to do it, and there again, like I said, without the sponsors, it wouldn't happen. But speaking of entertainment, on Friday night, we've got something new this year too, and that's the Elvis Prairie Tribute to the King, and these are going to be 8 Elvis impersonators competing for top prizes. And,
heck, that'd be fun.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. There's lots of Elvis junkies around the county, and even if you aren't an Elvis junkie, you all know who Elvis is and you know his songs, and so that'll be very entertaining to see that as well. So that'll be on Friday night, and then the old standby demolition derby, my hillbilly way of calling it, I call it the crash 'em up derby, but it'll be on Sunday night, and
that's always a draw. I wouldn't walk across the studio to see it,
boy,
but there's a lot of people. I mean, that's a big draw for you.
It's the biggest night at the fair.
And the tractor pull. Now that's something that's been going on since they invented the fair.
That's right.
Scramble.
The tractor pull. We're kind of going in reverse order, but the tractor pull will be on Thursday night. All the scrambles with the kids will be on Wednesday night, and then of course the Fair Queen pageant will have a new Fair Queen on Tuesday night.
Yes.
So
we probably ought not talk about the scrambles too much because PETA would get all the exercise. We're abusing these poor animals.
I'll tell you, we've been harping on the volunteers a little bit too. Another shout out or kudo I'll give is to those Fair Queen gals.
Yeah.
There isn't. Until I was involved with the fair board, there are very few people around unless you've had a daughter involved, unless you've been involved, or Well, unless you've been in some way involved with the Fair Queen pageant, people have no idea the amount of work and time that those people put into the Fair Queen pageant. Those girls started probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I know on Sunday nights, and I'm sure several other nights, they meet and they work on their routines. They learn how to walk. They learn about their posture. I mean, this is a learning experience for those girls, and it's very rewarding. I've heard lots of good things from past participants as well as current participants about what they've learned during that process, and the girls that help with that thing and put that thing on are put in an unbelievable amount of time, and
yes,
the pay's all the same.
As a Lincoln College associate, I'd like to mention that we have several Lincoln College graduates who are in contest for the Queens, and that's a big deal.
Yes, it is.
And I think you mentioned something that's very important. A spin-off of that is these youngsters learning poise and how to present themselves. That carries on into life as they go to apply for jobs and so forth. Yeah. And just the general interaction.
Well, I often tell people not only you can liken that to the Fair Queen pageant, but I was on the dairy judging team at ISU when I was in college, and part of that experience was giving oral reasons on why you placed that group of animals the way you did. And you would have to stand in front of 2 people or 4 people sitting there as you are in front of me today and give oral reasons as to why you placed them that way. Now, you could be totally wrong. I could have had them totally backwards to what compared to what the official judges did. I don't know that at the time, but I got to stand up here and tell you in front of you why I did what I did. And
what a great learning experience.
Well, I think it's, when you're in an interview, when you get older and you want to go for a job, and when you're sitting in front of people and you can be able to my grammar might not always be correct, but I try, and I can look you in the eye and tell you what I'm doing. And
well, it takes poise to turn down somebody's request for a loan.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's not fun either. Just like the issues we talked about earlier. None of them are fun, but you're not always going to win, and that's just the way it is. So.
But these young ladies have an opportunity to meet some kids that they wouldn't have maybe met because they're from a different high school. They have a different life.
I'd venture to say that those girls will be friends or stay in contact with each other, or be friends on Facebook, and they'll know what each other's doing and converse probably for the rest of their lives, or a lot of them will.
Speaking of Facebook, tell us your website. Perhaps listeners ought to know that website.
The website for the fair is www.logancountyfairil.com, and if you don't put that IL on the end, you're going to get the Logan County Fair in Ohio. So, so it's
that ain't going to help you at all.
It's LoganCountyFairIL.com, and there's lots of good information there. You can buy tickets to the concert on Saturday night right from that site. You can buy tickets to the Prairie Tribute to the King, the Elvis show on Friday night right there on that site, and it's got a link to all the fair book items in it, and lots of good information there. So, and then you can like us on Facebook as well. We have a presence on Facebook, and we have a Twitter account as well. So you can look up Logan County Fair on all those media.
Judy's very conversant with all of that. She quote the good old days. There used to always a national convention of that particular genre, and I remember that Wilbur Lehman, some of our local folks, went to that, and that's how he was able to get entree into some of these big acts, and in those days booked them for the Logan County Fair.
Sure.
Do we still have representatives that go to this national convention?
Well, I think the national convention you're speaking of is possibly in Las Vegas, and I have not been to that, but I was just talking with a representative of the Sangamon County Fair late last week, and he was telling me about that convention. I do go to the state convention, which is held down at the Crown Plaza in the second week of January every year, and that's where the State Fair Queen pageant is held. So whichever one of those fine ladies wins on Tuesday night, she will be representing Logan County at that convention in January. And at that convention, there are all kinds of vendors and booths set up. They have a huge trade show even at the state convention, and that's where I got in touch with Variety Attractions out of Zanesville, Ohio. And Chris Hesse is the guy I deal with to book the entertainment for the Saturday night show. Chris lives in Missouri, but he's a representative of the company of Ohio. So he brings to me probably in a couple months after this show's over with, in September, October, I'll meet with him. He'll be coming through town, and we'll have lunch in town together. He brings me a price sheet of what the entertainers are for the following year, and it's amazing from year to year how much they change, because the guy that we had last year, we had him in August, Thomas Rhett, in August here at our fair, and I was meeting with Chris in October, and Thomas Rhett's price had increased by $90,000 from the time he was here to his price list for the next year. So those people going to see Thomas Rhett right now anywhere, wherever he is, that fair or event will have paid him $90,000 more than we paid him a year ago. So there's the dynamics of trying to line up an entertainer are tough, but we had a conversation off air this morning before it started. I said it's very easy if you have the money.
Yes.
If you had enough money, you can get them to come. But
you bet.
Well, the bottom line is putting on a county fair is not just a short seasonal job. It's a 12-month job. Put on the kind of a fair that we do out here, so we can urge the folks to come out there, and it doesn't hurt to thank the volunteers if you see them and know what they're doing. I was thinking about this morning, and I thought about the old Will Rogers movie called State Fair, and that was a schmaltzy thing, but I remember that so very well. And which brought Will Rogers to mind, and he came up with some really pithy comments, and I'll close with this one. Good judgment comes from experience. And a lot of that comes from bad judgment. Thank you, Dave Irwin.
Let me say one thing,
yes, Judith K.
One thing that is planned around the county fairs by so many graduating classes is they set that during the county fair, so that when they come, they can go out there and see all the people that they know here during the fair. And one of them is the class of 75, and on Saturday, August 8th, after their time out at the fair, they're going to meet at the Elks at 6, and they've got information on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Too tough, was it, Mr. Reich? Thank you very much.
Thank you.